I learned she was going to be there at Arrowhead for her debut appearance.
Her first game, yeah.
Right. So I knew all week or 4 or 5 days ahead of time, and I had to sit on it.
Well, we're back in New York.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you on again. Courtside Club Season 2, Jordan Schultz, OG, back on the show.
Yeah, I was early because I came on in August of 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah. So
when it was warmer.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I came in and I had a T-shirt on. Now it's, multiple layers. I feel like I'm going skiing and Shog.
You look lovely,
Thank
though.
you.
You look like very professional, put together.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in a year, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you look awesome, too.
Thank you.
It's a good look for you.
Thank you.
It's very
I'm
New York.
very New York.
Yeah, it's like New York trendy. Yeah.
But no, thank you so much for coming on
my pleasure.
Courtside Club again. I'm excited, one, to catch up and also introduce you even more so to my audience who might not have seen everything that we did last year with the show being on ESPN. But I want to catch up because I feel like your career in general, even since we last talked, has just skyrocketed. I've been seeing your stories breaking or whoever's retweeting you via Jordan Schultz. So tell me about some of the stories that you've broken this year.
When I first came to this show a year and I guess it was a year and a half ago, basically.
Yeah.
I was still in the somewhat infancy stages of becoming the insider. So 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago, I was basically doing 3 or 4 different jobs at once. I was covering the NBA, but not really. I had been writing college basketball features. I was interested in the NFL, interested in the draft. I didn't really my compass was all over the place. I was a little rudderless. I got really close with my guy, Max Kellerman, who, because our daughters were in the same class, same school, and they were best friends. Mira is his daughter, my daughter's Ren, and now they're 9. But they became really close at 5 and 6. And I started to become really friendly with Max, and we would watch boxing together, and he had me on First Take, and I really liked him personally. And one day we were having a beer, and he said to me, I got to be honest with you. I think he was very honest. He said, I think you're a really talented guy, but we don't really know where to put you. You're a bit of a generalist. You don't really have one role you're doing, and the producers don't necessarily think of you with A, B, or C. They just put you in this big box, and it's actually hurting you. And I thought this whole time, Rachel, that everything I was doing was helping me.
Right.
Being able to be a jack of all trades or a utility player. But I think it was hurting me because nobody really, if there was a breaking story about this player or this team or this league, I wasn't necessarily going to be the call because I was doing all these other things too. So it was confusing. And so I really took it to heart and realized that I had to pick one. And it was a really difficult decision in the sense that I had put in a lot of time with the other sports. Basketball was actually my first love, not football. I played basketball my whole life. And I made the decision, though, I'm just going to go NFL. Basketball was dominated by Woj and Shams. And I got respect from my guy Chris, and I just decided I got to move into the NFL full-time and start to cultivate more relationships within football. So I started to do that going into the free agency cycle of 2022. And then what happened was over the summer, August, September, I ended up signing with Bleacher Report.
I saw that.
Which was big for me.
Yeah.
I've loved their platform for so long and been a big fan, and so when they were interested, I was interested.
Yeah.
And so that was obviously a big plus, and just continued to push. But I told you the Gronk story last time. I think the one story recently that happened was one of the biggest I've ever had was the Russell Wilson. I don't know if you saw this one, but it was Christmas Day or maybe the 26th. This is 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson gets benched. That was not the story that I wanted because I knew that this was percolating, and I knew there was a really decent chance. I thought there was a good chance he was going to get benched. That was not the story. I knew everyone was going to have that story. The story I wanted was what happened and how did this happen?
Right.
And so, Russell Wilson, they had won 5 in a row. He was playing pretty good football. He was basically top 10 in every quarterback category. But then he gets benched after they lose to New England, and they're still technically in the playoff hunt.
Right.
And so it was an entire day and I was on vacation with my family. It was Christmas vacation.
Oh, yeah.
It was an entire day of locking myself in the room. It was beautiful outside. I don't even think I ate, just drank water. I was on the phone for I think 8 hours, like phone calls, which is not, it's not great. And then at the same time, I was also locked out on my Twitter. I got hacked.
Seriously,
I got hacked on Twitter.
Wait, how does that happen, though?
I don't know.
You have to have like the two-factor the things, right? You didn't have it?
I'm an absolute joke.
That's
I didn't have 2FA.
That's such a
Everyone that says that to me, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
It's really embarrassing.
Yeah, it's difficult to hack nowadays because there's so many different steps.
Yeah, you need to have if you have the 2FA, and I think unless you have the physical phone, it's really hard to get hacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes, it's not always the case, but sometimes the tweet is only like a small fraction of it. That's what's going to last 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Right. But the deep story of what really happened, and this goes to me really wanting to empower players. What happened with Russell Wilson? So I learned that on October 29th, they win against the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. He has a good game, throws a couple touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. They beat the Chiefs. 2 days later on Halloween, he gets approached by the Broncos. Sean Payton, they tell him, we need you to defer your $37 million injury guarantees to the season after. And if you don't, we're going to bench you and make you inactive the rest of the season. So they threaten him. And he says, no.
Wait. Explain that like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay.
So
well, this is what I had to explain like I was a 2-year-old because there's so much language in here, and I'm not a lawyer. What happened was when he signed with the Broncos, he negotiated, and that was a massive contract. He negotiated an injury guarantee. Basically, if something were to happen like an Alex Smith injury, if he had a catastrophic knee problem or knee injury, an ACL, if he could never walk again, if he could never play again, he had $37 million guaranteed in injuries, so that he would be taken care of from the team. And they negotiated that not only in good faith, but it was in the contract between the Broncos and Russ.
Right.
So when that happened, you fast forward now 2 years, and Sean Payton's there, new head coach, and maybe he's not happy with how Russ is playing, but they actually have this big win. They're midway through the season. It's not even November. And they go to him and they tell him, if you don't waive this injury guarantee, if you don't defer it a year down the road to 2024 or 2025, not only are we going to bench you, but we might just make you inactive for the remainder of the season.
Because basically, if he got hurt, then he wouldn't get it if he deferred it. Is that what they?
Yes,
that's what he was worried about.
Yes, and also yes, that's what he's worried about.
Got it.
And I think the most extreme example is like an Alex Smith or a Joe Theismann, where your career is threatened, your life is threatened to a degree. But even if he had a catastrophic knee injury or a really bad shoulder injury, whatever it is, he still wanted to be protected. Yeah, and football is a violent game. He's the quarterback.
And he's getting older, too.
He is getting older. He's in his mid-30s. And he said no.
Right.
Which was what every player would do.
Right.
He said no. So now, over the course of the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they're threatening him every week. Nobody knows this. The fans don't know this. But they're going to him saying, we got to talk to you.
Yeah.
And he's thinking every week, I might just get benched. So even if they're not threatening him every week, I should say, they're teasing it. And Sean Payton's meeting with him behind closed doors, unbeknownst to the fans. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if his teammates knew about this.
Yeah.
And they're telling him, and so he's now playing under the guise of, I might get benched this week. Is this the meeting where I'm going to get benched? And I didn't know this was going on at the time, but I knew stuff was getting bad. And then they rattle off a couple big wins. I think they had won 5 in a row. They win a couple primetime games. They beat Cleveland, Minnesota. And then they lose to the Pats, which was a really bad loss because New England was out of it. And that essentially derailed their playoff hopes. And that's when Sean Payton finally came to him, George Payton, the GM, and they said, now you are benched because you didn't defer. Now, they're not going to tell him that, but that's why he was benched.
Right.
And so this is the story I'm navigating this entire day, trying to understand the language now, because now you also have the NFLPA getting involved.
Right.
It's a story that goes way beyond just football. And ultimately, Wilson is benched for the rest of the year. I think it was 2 or 3 games left. But so I'm on the phone. I'm also writing it up, and I'm locked out of Twitter.
Right.
Now Sean Payton I know he has a 2:30 Mountain Time press conference.
Oh,
and
so you're trying to beat that.
I have to beat that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like, normally maybe I would try to get out by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe you dump a Sunday morning story before the games.
Right.
But this, considering it's Russell Wilson, it's Sean Payton. He has the presser at 2:30. He speaks once a week. This is it.
Yeah, because he could also, like, maybe not lie, but spin it in a way to make it seem like.
Well, he did. He
Yeah.
did. We're not satisfied with the way he's playing.
Exactly.
They didn't mention anything about
Right.
the injury
Right.
guarantees, which was, again, $37 million. And a lot of folks have said to me, well, Russell Wilson's rich anyway. That's not necessarily the point. The point is you negotiated this. It is a tremendous amount of money. And as a player, this is your right. And it was in the contract.
Right.
The Broncos had no right. They can ask him, but to make him pay for it, essentially, is really wild. And so anyways, I finally get back into Twitter after I think I was 2 or 3 days of a hack. And so I got back in just in time.
That's good.
I think within 20 minutes to spare.
Jeez.
And I had written up. So
That's actually, though, it might have been a blessing in disguise because.
Why?
Well, because if you would have put out your story like 2 hours earlier and
Maybe
the coach would have seen, he could have also.
Spun it?
Like, he didn't have enough time
That's fair.
change what he was going to talk about. You know what I mean?
That actually might be true. I didn't think about it like that. That's not a bad point.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone with like everyone at X. I'm on the phone with learning about Russell Wilson. I'm typing on my phone, letting BR know I'm going to go live on BR. I'm going to go live on Fox Sports or FS1. All these different shows, and I finally get it out just in time, like right when he's going up to the press conference, and then the phone just erupts. And what surprised me was the litany of NFL teams reaching out saying it was by and large incredibly positive. Even the teams were really positive.
Yeah.
But what was really surprising to me was how many NFL teams reached out saying this happens all the time with much less known players. And it's good that you're bringing a light to it because it's not a story that's told often. When it's a guy who's, barely on the roster or maybe a backup player or even a fringe starter, you don't hear about it because the money's so much less significant.
Of course. And
the team keeps it in-house. And so even some of the teams that it might not have been advantageous for this type of story to get out, they were saying like, really good job. Like that's real investigative reporting. It was a real story.
Well, it also just like sheds light on contracts. And I think, obviously me being more of like an NBA niche, a lot of this stuff with NBA players, like their contracts are guaranteed.
They are.
And I've always thought it was so interesting with the NFL because it is such a more like violent sport. And the lifespan of your career in the NFL is a lot shorter than even the average NBA player. Yeah. So to me, it is kind of crazy because you don't even have to have the worst injury in the world for that to be the end of your career. If you have a ACL injury at the wrong time and you're easily replaced, that's the end of your career. Like, good luck trying to get, on another team. Like, it is very disposable. So I feel like the contracts, again, good on you that you're able to figure out those details, but that is something. Like, I can't imagine how many guys have just, been benched or not played or had an injury or taken what they said, like defer that injury and gotten injured that season and then been shit out of luck,
That's so absolutely. I mean, listen, I don't know how we're at the point in 2024 where NFL contracts are not guaranteed. Yeah. You have signing bonuses. Right. Oftentimes you have a significant signing bonus, but the contract is not guaranteed. Right. So when a quarterback signs for, let's just pick a round number, $100 million, oftentimes it's really 40, 30, 50 that's guaranteed. But the other half or 70% of it can be completely eradicated. And that's what's really, really difficult about the NFL.
Are you getting something? Also, if we need to, because you're in your Twitter account now, we have two-factor
We do.
authentication on now. So if you need to do anything during this interview, go for it.
This is small. It's just a coaching, a potential assistant coach for the NFL. I'll show it to you.
So how many unread text messages do you have in your phone?
Right now it's good. Right now is only 51.
Oh, great.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, I think that'll balloon to like 130, 150.
Yeah.
You know.
Is it hard to keep up? You're pretty quick at responding to people, though. Even me, when I asked you to come on the show again.
Well, you're Rachel DeMita. I mean, you know, it's
I'm not a huge news story, though.
I was ecstatic to come back on. I am pretty quick normally.
Do you want to see mine?
Is it?
It's pretty bad.
Let me see. Oh my gosh. You'll never, ever be able to recover all those.
No.
Can you say that on the camera?
So I have 2,086 unread messages. But it's different, okay? So when I'm expecting a text from someone, I'm normally very quick. If it's like from someone I haven't seen in a while, or it's like almost like if I'm expecting it, I'm good. If I'm not expecting it, that's where I fumble. Because I'll just be doing something, and if it's something that's not like urgent, I'm like, oh, I'll get back to it, and then I forget. You know what I mean?
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think if you don't get back to it, then you never get back to it though? So then that person has to reach out a second or third time?
So my good friends all know.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not responding, just hit me again or call me, because it's not like a malicious thing. I don't try to ghost people. I don't any of that unless there's maybe like a very few that I'm like, trying to not talk to. But for the most part, yeah. So they'll just hit me again. Or I'll get back to it. Sometimes it does take me a couple days and I'm like, oh, I like scroll back to someone I needed to text. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I didn't respond to them. Let me get back to them. But
that's a nice way of saying like it's not the most important, but it's kind of important because I'm going to get back later.
Yeah.
I feel like you did that to me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, did I?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, because this was very important.
Or maybe it's not time sensitive, and so you think I can give out 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Exactly. But then if I forget, because if I'm in the middle of doing something, I don't want to like change that train of thought.
That's fair.
I feel like family, like my mom, I always have to get back to my mom because she will worry about my safety. If I don't get back to my mom, like in a timely manner, she'll call the police. And then obviously my boyfriend as well. But we like talk on the phone more than we text also. So
your mom's like, I want to file a missing person report.
Yeah.
How long should we 18 minutes.
Right. It's like, or if my mom can't see my location because we share
the geolocation, yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's fair though.
Yeah. She'll be like, oh, like one time, this is like going completely off topic, but one time my flight got canceled. And it was an early morning flight, so I went to the airport and then went back to my hotel room because I was so exhausted because I was like, what are my flights? Like, cancel, I have to take another one. And went back to sleep. And she was like looking at my location. She's like, oh, she's still at the hotel. And then she was calling me and I didn't respond for a few hours because I was sleeping. And in her mind that I'm getting these like crazy text messages like, please just tell me you're okay. Wow. She like in her mind, she thought like,
your mom's amazing.
Somebody like murdered me, and I'm like still in the hotel. You got kidnapped
at the Motel 6.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sad, Rachel.
Yeah,
you need to respond to your mother.
I do. Don't worry.
Make sure she's not.
I do.
That's nice. Yeah. So, anyways, the NBA, the contract system is way better. Oftentimes in the NFL, you don't want a long-term deal. You want 3 or 4. So here's the most basic way to. If you're a first-round pick in the NFL.
Yeah.
The team who drafts you, let's say you get drafted, we're in New York. Let's say the Giants draft you in the first round. They technically have 5 potential years of having control over your contract. There's after 3 years, you're extension eligible. After the 4th year, you can pick up an option. There is 5 potential years.
Okay.
And then even more so, you can get tagged. You see what's happened with Saquon. He got tagged last year. If you get tagged, you have no control. The tag is a set amount. I think it was $10.3 million for running backs last year. He can't play anywhere else. It's a really tough scenario. So oftentimes, by the time you are a free agent, let's say you're 26, 27, you don't want to sign a 5-year deal. You want to sign a 3-year deal because you want to get another deal when you're 29 or 30 as opposed to like 32, 33.
Right.
And that might be your only big deal, only opportunity to cash in. Plus, the contracts are not guaranteed. Right. The NFL is an ownership-driven league.
Yeah.
The NBA is a players-driven league.
Yeah. Which I think in some ways in the NBA, some things have gone out of control when it comes to players because it's different from the NFL in a sense where like if a player's unhappy, they can be outwardly spoken on like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And then that is like yes, it's good for the player. It's sometimes not good for fans though.
The player empowerment.
When your player is moving from team to team, and I've even noticed that, like, just working in the NBA for as long as I can, it's hard to really get behind one organization, and it might be a big organization if the players keep changing every single year, or your star guys coming in and out. Like Golden State Warriors are an easy team to get behind because it's been that same core group. The Bucks is another thing, like with Giannis there for as long as he's been there. Miami Heat's like another one that's like maybe easier to get behind, but I see both sides, and I'm not saying that it's like wrong for these players to be able to control their destiny, and they also have families and they want to get the most money and they want to make the most out of their time on the court.
But don't you feel like a lot of younger fans are just fans of players now anyway, not necessarily like freaking hold on, let me take this really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Hey Jay, is this urgent? Oh, let me hit you back in a little bit. I'm recording, but I thought it might be something with somebody in Las Vegas. See, that's a call that I took because he's a good friend of mine, but also thought it might have been a news thing.
Got it.
So I really needed to.
Is your wife cool with you always having to be on the phone?
The phone's tough, man.
It's tough for like any relationship at this point, but.
Well, I have separated myself from it to a degree. What I've noticed is my phone time my screen time's gone down from double digits to now, like, even anywhere from like 7 to 9 a day, which is really low because this isn't the craziest time. It's starting to ramp up with coaches and GMs, but it's not as crazy. And so I have to separate from it because I want quality time with the kids.
Yeah.
And her. It's been a really tough balance, but I definitely have gotten better. I didn't want to say I'm tried. I gotten a lot better at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. I can't live like that. Like if you can, there's more power to you. I just can't. Yeah. It's not how I just can't operate like that. There was you're not going to be able to get every single story if you want to have some type of balance in your life. Right. And I've just accepted it. Perfect example is last weekend I was at the ice rink. My son was playing hockey at a game. He scored his first goal. I was right there on top of the ice for it. There was a story that was relatively sizable that I missed.
Okay.
Because it actually had my phone on me, but I didn't have it on vibrate. It wasn't a time necessarily I thought it would happen, and I just missed it. And my initial reaction was like, I really wish I wouldn't have missed that. But I got over it really quickly because if I was on the phone, I know I would have missed his goal, and I just had to accept it. And it was something that was worth missing. So.
Have you ever heard that phrase where it's like, will it be important in 9 minutes? Will it be important in 9 months? 9 days, 9 months, 9 years.
I've heard iterations of that.
Yeah, and like that's how, because I've had to think back on that sometimes too. Like if I miss something or something goes wrong, it's like, okay, is it important in 9 minutes? Yes. Is it important in 9 days? Probably not. You know what I mean?
9 months. No
9
way.
months, right? So I think in your sense, you could think of it like that as well, because you will get another story. There will be.
Yeah.
I don't know, unless this was a once in a lifetime thing.
No,
but
usually
your son's
when
goal
that's
will probably be important in 9 years.
His first goal, And you asked about my wife. The conversations are often like, it'll be like, do you really need to be on right now? And usually the answer is no. Yeah. Actually, almost always the answer is no. And if it's yes, then, I just have to deal with it. But I've also gotten better at like, if I know I really have to be on the phone, I might just purposely stay home for maybe there's an activity like going to go see a play or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just stay home.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm going to be having to be on the phone, and you can't really be on the phone at a play or a movie.
Right.
That doesn't happen very often, but that has happened. And usually it's beneficial because I have to focus, and hopefully it's done by the time they come home. But I need to be available. Yeah. I also, like you said when we talked earlier this week, you said, talk someone about your background. And I mean, I don't promote it, but I also I'm keenly aware of how I grew up and the fortunate just how fortunate I was, not having to worry about food, about education, about family travel, and I was exposed to so much at such a young age, and I don't think I knew how important it was at the time, but looking back now, I really understand how important it was to be able to adapt to different scenarios and to be sophisticated or try to be open. You know, my parents used to be like, "You're here, you need to be here." They always just, because I was all I wanted to do was play basketball and like talk to girls, but so they would always try to, you know.
Right.
I would like not go. I remember like they went to Greece when I was in 8th grade, and I didn't go because of like a preseason jamboree.
Yeah.
You know, they went to Spain when I was a sophomore in high school. I didn't go so I could watch a football game on TV.
Well, that's actually really funny that you say your parents were telling you to be like this, because my dad's thing, like when I was in a basketball game or when literally anything, he would always tell me to do this.
Oh.
Like focus, put your blinders on, like keep moving forward, like tap in. And I feel like that's helped me a lot in my career. But I was the same thing. Like I missed a lot because I was, you know, dribbling in the backyard.
Like would you not go to... Was it like a party or a dance or something?
Every time, yeah.
But like you go to prom or homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, my parents also, like, we weren't going on overseas vacation.
Okay, but see.
So maybe it was like less like big things.
But homecoming, it's not like you missed that stuff.
I went to homecoming, yeah. So.
Or like we had what was the one? We had a dance. Actually, this is so I'm about to turn 38. So I graduated high school 04. And this dance was probably 02, so let's say it was 20-something years ago. We had a dance called Rob the Cradle, which looking back...
That's like such an awful name.
And it was seniors would ask sophomores and juniors, and it was only... they could ask... Juniors would ask freshmen, and seniors would ask sophomores.
It's an insane name
for
a dance.
Called Rob the Cradle.
It's insane.
And I remember I got asked by a girl I had a massive crush on. I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And she was a junior, or maybe, no, I was a sophomore. She was a senior.
Okay.
She was like one of the whatever, you know, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, well, I didn't get asked yet. And we have a basketball game in the morning. We can't go. And I was like, fuck that. I'm going with her. You know, it was like the one time I was like, I'm definitely going to go.
I'm definitely focused with basketball unless there's a cute girl. I get them there.
So I did. She ended
funny.
up, I would say the dance went like great for me, but I definitely was not going to miss that one.
I can't get over the name. That's actually
Rob the Cradle. It's the one thing I look back on about my high school that truly was, I can't believe that even happened.
Yeah.
Like at what point was Rob the Cradle like banned? Like probably like 07 or 09. They were like, we got to get a new name.
That's so funny.
But no, I was so exposed at such a young age. Also, for those who don't know, and you know, these are all things I don't really talk about, but you know, we're good friends, and I'll just, you know, when I was in 8th or 9th grade, my dad bought the Sonics, which I don't know if we've talked about.
I don't think so.
But
we've obviously talked about Starbucks. I got a matcha today.
Nice.
On Postmates, so it was a little more expensive than when you go into the store.
It was probably like $8.
Yeah, but it was like 13 to get it here. Like 13
plus
total.
Tip.
Yeah, it's fine. It's delicious. So
it is good.
I get a little scoop of chai in there also, so it's matcha with chai.
That's really good.
Anyway,
it is sugary though.
That's fine.
Yeah,
it's
sugary.
Courtside Club Day. We can have a little sugar.
So I like this too. This Mobby.
We're gonna get there.
I'm definitely gonna try it because I see its sugars are not too bad. So he bought the Sonics when I was in. I think it was officially when I was in 8th grade, and I remember we were driving home from school. It was probably from a practice, and he picked me up from school, and then he said, I really need to talk about something important. And we got to the driveway, and he proceeded to tell me what he was about to do, which I had no idea about at the time. And so that's when I think for me, learning about the players really started. Yeah. Because as I was coming of age, 13 to 21, I think he had the team, 13 to 20. And I was seeing firsthand how poorly the players and also my dad were treated, especially by the local press. And when I was that young, it was really hard to see that, especially with my dad.
You were also meeting a lot of players too. We talked about it last time because your dad had these relationships, and your Shaq story, which I would love for you to tell again. That's someone you've been close with since you were a kid. So I'm sure just like knowing them on a personal level and then understanding the business enough when you're that young, it probably like hit a little harder.
There were so many times where a report would get out that was a half truth or not true at all, and it would paint either my dad or one of the players really poorly. And that was really difficult because as I got older, I became really close to the ages of the players. And so, you know, we'd have a lot of guys over. I think, did I tell you the Ray Allen story?
I don't think so.
Ray Allen broke my nose.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Ray Allen broke my nose.
How did that happen?
But these are the types of things that like are so, the experience is so crazy that I don't even really talk about it. I rarely talk about it because I just feel it's, I'm trying to separate myself from that and from my dad. But this is a good story. When I was a freshman in college, we had Ray over to the house, and we had a half court, and this is in Seattle, and we were playing cutthroat, which is like rotating one-on-one. And
you were playing one-on-one with Ray Allen?
Yeah, it's kind of like you could say. It was kind of like you could say.
Wait, the story keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're playing 21.
Playing 21
with
and
Ray Allen.
Yeah, I'm talking shit, and I think I had game point and.
Against Ray Allen?
Well, there was multiple people.
Okay.
So I had probably scored on him once or twice. Ray wasn't a great defender. He wasn't taking this that seriously.
Also, yeah, you're playing on concrete. Okay.
And I was also in phenomenal shape. And I was like, you know, going to my sophomore year of college, I was probably like 185, and I was a good player. I was talking shit. I started to yap, and I said something along the lines of, "Ray, you're not going to lose in front of your family, are you?" I said it just like that. I was like, "You're going to lose to me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Ray, this is low even for you. I mean, you're Jesus Shuttlesworth."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, fuck you." And I was like, "Okay." And so I'll never forget. He finally like really locked up.
Yeah.
I missed a bad shot, and then it was his ball, and we check up, and I immediately sensed like a change. He like went stone cold.
Right.
And I was, you know, trying
That's
to like
killer instinct.
Yeah, I was trying to lock up and like really contest him, and he didn't even take a dribble. What he did was he swept through, he ripped through, and when he ripped through, he had sharp elbows. He literally shattered my nose, completely broken in like 2 places.
Yeah.
Blood gushing. Have to go to the emergency room. You know what he did after? He sent me. There was a system called PSP, PlayStation Portable.
Yeah.
And he sent me a PSP with NBA Live, but he was on the cover. And he called me subsequently once a month or every few weeks for like the next couple months. And every time I've seen Ray since, he always does the same thing. He points at his nose. He like points.
Oh my God.
And he laughs.
So
I love Ray
Ray Allen. It was like, here's a gift. Sorry for breaking your nose, but also remember who you're playing one-on-one with next time because I'm on the cover.
Absolutely. That was a humble pie, 100%. There was also times where like, you know, when Rashard Lewis was negotiating his extension, there were articles coming out that were negative, and meanwhile he's like at the house all the time, and they were talking all the time, him and Howard, and never really got contentious. And he was probably like 24, and maybe I was 20 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we were friendly. We'd play horse at the house and watch games. And I just remember seeing like Rashard's getting trashed in the media about like how contentious things are. And it wasn't. And not like that, at least. And so that started opening my eyes of, if I can ever get in the position to help players, I want to tell their stories. And that was, I think, a good example of why that Russell Wilson story was so important to me. Because I knew how fucked up it was, and I knew there was a bigger story to tell, and I also knew it was timely. There was all these elements into it. So that's probably, in many ways, why I do what I do now. Even though at the time, I didn't know how it would play out, but now it's like crystal clear to me.
Do you want to spill some tea?
Yeah. What is this?
Okay, so this is Mobby tea. Cheers. Yeah. Crack it open right next to the mic so we can hear it. It's time to spill the tea.
Let's spill it.
With Mobby tea. I have a straw because I have lipstick on.
Oh, that's very good.
That's
very good.
It's healthy also.
Yeah, I see that.
I love Mobby tea, caffeine free, but it still gives you a little
kick,
pep that you need.
This is excellent. Really nice. Caribbean.
New fan. We talked about all the stories that you broke in about players, but you also broke a story this year about a certain celebrity, did you not?
Which one?
Taylor.
Oh, yes, I did. I forgot about that.
Taylor Swift. How do you forget about that story? She's one of the biggest headlines in the biggest in NFL history.
You're absolutely right.
So tell us about the story.
Right.
How do we even begin?
Right. So
any insight into Taylor Swift's life?
So it became evident that her and Travis were at least talking because he went on his pod and we started to get speculation. It started to ramp up, and I started to just ask questions about what's going on here, not really knowing how real it was, but believing that there was certainly some smoke there, and it wasn't like, it's tough because it's not like the investigate. It's not really like the NFL insider. This was like a whole nother dimension, like you said, of pop culture.
Yeah.
But it was transcending the NFL. As you know, it took over the league for like a month. And I think for me, I noticed that this was a story that had bigger ramifications than just like an NFL transaction. So I started to ask questions, and I learned she was going to be there at Arrowhead and for her debut appearance.
Her first game, yeah.
Right, in Travis Kelce's. So I knew all week or 4 or 5 days ahead of time, and I had to sit on it. And
why?
Well, because there were security issues, and what if she cancels? There was just all kinds of question marks, and also like it wasn't. I was beyond my skis. I was out of my depth. This wasn't something I really like. I don't know Taylor Swift. My daughter's obsessed with her. I don't really have any business like pretending like I know. So I really wanted to be patient, but also I think any insider will tell you that the hardest thing to do is sitting on valuable information, knowing that other people are trying to access it.
Could get it, yeah.
And so I had to wait literally until probably an hour before kickoff.
I remember that tweet.
Because I was told you have to wait until she's officially in the stadium.
Okay.
And the biggest thing at that point was security.
Yeah.
And so I just was waiting and waiting. So now I had told Bleacher Report, this is what's happening. I'm on this story. Be on the lookout. But that it was a huge story.
That's massive. No. Yeah. So this is coming from the NFL side then, where I know you don't reveal your sources, but it was from the NFL side. It wasn't from Taylor's team.
I don't want to say that. I won't say that there wasn't a little leak there.
A little crossover.
There was a little crossover. Yeah. So I should say that
because her PR is tied up tight.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. But I had a. Again, I don't know her, but I had an in.
Okay.
Maybe we could talk about off camera. I had an in, and so I had a little birdie, and so that's how I was subsequently also able to get the other. I knew she was going to be at the Jets game. I think I had a couple more.
Yeah, you did have the Jets as well.
You know, and then the story died down because she was going to so many games.
Right.
But it was the Bears-Chiefs game. That was the first one that I think took the lid off, and then my phone just blew up with like.
That was super cool.
Like, how did you get that? This is such an odd story. Are you sure this can't be true?
Yeah.
It was so many. Like the Russell Wilson was like, good job, investigative. Right. This one was like, this is so odd.
Did you have Swifties in your DMs?
I did, and also I had people reaching out to me that I didn't know, saying like, I'm a big NFL fan now. I love Travis Kelce. There was also that whole meme thing on TikTok where like girlfriends were talking to boyfriends and wives talking to husbands about, Travis Kelce.
She put Travis Kelce on the map. Yeah.
And my wife wanted to do that with me. I was like, this is so stupid. Yeah. It's going to be so fake, because anyways.
Well, then Pat McAfee actually called you. That TikTok was so funny that you posted.
Oh, because I was in Kansas City.
Yeah. So you went on his show to like share the news that she was going to be there. Yeah. And then he was like, okay, yeah, see you later. Thanks, Jordan.
Taylor Swift. Going to be there tonight or not, Schultz?
The last I was told was no, that she had to move her show and that she wasn't going to come and that they were thinking about, I think it was the Raiders game by Christmas for the Parents Connect. But that was earlier today. She was in South America, right? She's been in South America, Argentina, Brazil. And, Travis was obviously there on his off week, which was awesome. But the last I heard was that she was not going to be there tonight because she had to move her show around.
All right. We appreciate you. Have a great day over there.
That's
Kansas.
it. Wait, that's it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And I was like, that's it. So
you were on for about a minute.
yeah. Well, I was actually in Kansas City for Monday Night Football, Eagles Chiefs, and I was in the car with my wife, and we had like a few hours to kill, so we went to this awesome museum they have there. We had like 3 hours, so we were like, let's just go to the museum and walk around. And I think he had texted me, Patty had texted me in the morning when I was working out, because I always like to work out day of the game, because I know I'm going to be really lazy and eat bad.
Yeah.
So, and I was like telling him what was going on, but he didn't say, can you come on? So I didn't really think anything of it.
Oh, okay.
And then sometimes he'll just FaceTime me. If I get a FaceTime, I know it's the show. And we're in the car going to the museum, and my wife's like, is that what I think it is? And I was like, yeah, I think it is. So
you didn't know that you were going to be live.
I had no idea. That's why I was in the car.
hilarious.
Otherwise, I would have probably been in the hotel.
It gave it a very authentic feel. I liked it.
She didn't want me to put her on, but I was like, this is too funny.
Yeah.
And so they're like, Mrs. Schultz report.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, I just think like, I don't know, this insider like this is a crazy.
Yeah.
It is a 24/7 game, and you're not going to get every story, but it is really fun and it is entertaining. I love building the relationships, and it is a relationship game.
I think that's what you need, and I think you like, even you talk about maybe like a more privileged upbringing, but you're so like humble and normal and real, and I think that's why you're able to build the relationships that you are. Like you're not,
that.
You know what I mean? It to me, when I sit down with you, it doesn't feel
like that's my dad.
Like you, yeah, like this is Jordan's. And like no, it doesn't. Like it doesn't seem like our childhoods would have been that much different. Like you're so easy to talk to, and so I think like you probably come off as or at least to me. But to everybody else, like non-threatening, you're not like slimy. You're not going to give information that people don't want out just so you can get a story. But I think doing it maybe the slower way to like build up to when you do get that stuff, people are like, I want to tell Jordan. Like I want him to break my news. So.
Yeah, that's very kind of you, Rachel, and I really appreciate that. It is a long game, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the whole, it's such a nice thing for you to say, seriously.
No, I mean it.
But it'd be like, my parents always, it's not a, what is it? Not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Marathon, yeah.
Yeah, marathon, not a sprint, or play a long game, or all these like I'd say like Howardisms. When I was I know we're short on time, but I'll tell you one quick story. Okay. And then we get our guy Jared on.
Yeah.
Who's way better than that guy's.
Jared Freed's awesome.
He's amazing. This is a great. This epitomizes, I think, my childhood and why. I always say I was born on home plate, like not even on third base. Like I went around the bases. When I was, even before we had the team, before we had the Sonics, my dad, and this is probably where I started to get it from, he was all about relationships. And he had gotten really friendly with Shaq. And you know about the Shaq Starbuck story, right?
Yeah.
I told that one.
Yeah.
Where he said,
Shaq
Howard,
didn't buy into Starbucks right away.
He said to Howard, black people don't drink coffee. I can't invest. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
So that's always like, Shaq will tell you that's his biggest regret. And then Magic ended up
investing, yeah.
Right.
And
they did a collaboration.
Payday. Yeah.
Very, very smart decision.
Yeah.
So Shaq, whenever the Lakers were in town, he would come over to the house before the game. Like if they had time, he would come over. But I didn't know. My dad surprised me this time, and I was probably 11 or 12. And I was doing homework in my room, and he did not tell me that Shaq was coming over. So I was just in my room doing like math, and all of a sudden I get a knock. And I was like, what? It's probably, I thought my mom or my dad. And I was like, come in. And he runs in and jumps on my bed. I'm like here.
Did
I'm
he
like doing my
break it?
homework. I think he broke part of it. Like it wasn't like totally shattered.
Right.
But it was definitely
That's
like
a big dude jumping on your bed. Yeah.
And he like hung out with me for an hour. He helped me with my math, which was like, I never forget, he was like helping me with multiplication tables. He's like 8 plus 8 is 64. And then he stayed because it was an off day. They weren't playing till the next day. So he stayed for dinner, and he ate like a 38-ounce tomahawk steak. And he was unbelievable. the greatest. He was so nice to me. He was like a big brother. And I'll never forget, he ate like an entire cake. Like he literally ate the cake. And he was eating chocolate, going, look what I can do. And then we just like fucked around and played Nerf basketball after, and then went to the game the next night. And like I would see him at the game, and he'd give me a hug. And like, these are the types of experiences that as a kid I knew were special, but I didn't realize how insane they were until I got older. Yeah. And so that's, again, like, that's why I love the players. Like, because the players are people. Yeah. You know, and under that helmet is a person, not a fantasy football player. So.
Last super quick question before you go. Most famous person in your phone. Is it Shaq?
Shaq's up there. He's up there.
Most famous person, if you FaceTime them right now, they'd answer.
Oh, that's wow. Should we could try.
Let's try it. And we'll get Jared teed up.
Is you that one?
Okay.
Because you want an athlete, right?
Most famous person that you think would answer if you FaceTime them.
It doesn't have to be an athlete?
No.
What's up, big? What's up, bro? Well, I'm taping a show, and I wanted to tell you that I think your guy's going to get the gig. AP. I think so. He's the man. So I'm on a show right now, so I'm gonna reveal who. We're talking Raiders.
Most famous.
This is the most famous person in my phone who I really love. Dame Dollar.
Hi.
Get a massage.
That's so funny.
Dame Dollar. We're talking Raiders, and I said, this is the perfect person to call. He loves the Raiders more than anybody in the world. In fact, he knows more about the Raiders than I do.
Welcome to the Courtside Club.
I agree. AP is that dude. I 100% agree. What are you going to say?
I was like, tell him we got to wrap the show, but enjoy the massage.
Dame, you are the best, bro. I'm so glad you answered.
Thanks for joining us.
Enjoy the massage. All love, big dog. I'll be in touch about AP. All right, bro. Peace.
Awesome. Jordan, thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can follow you, find you on socials.
Okay, so I am on Twitter at Schultz_report, Instagram Jordan Schultz, TikTok at Real Jordan Schultz, because that's the only one. And I started a YouTube channel, but that's a tough nut to crack. You got to help me on that one. So those are my handles.
I got you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rachel.
That was awesome.
Appreciate you.